Christine asked to be in the family, Janelle asked to be in the family. And basically I said, if you want to be in the family, then you have to understand, I need you to run your will to mine. Are you okay with that? Because I'm going to be the head of the family. I've got 2 wives. I have to take care of it. I have a very big picture. Will you understand that? Will you help me with it? And they're like, yeah, me, pick me, pick me. I mean, literally.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, December 19th, 2022, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so sorry. I was out on Friday. I took the day off. We had a very unexpected week with my family, but things are finally getting better. So I hope all of you had a good long weekend. And this is actually going to be a week leading up to the holidays, and my son is going to be off school for about 10 days. So I'll be periodic. My videos next week are going to be probably spotty, but today we'll be busy. We have a lot to catch up on. And one of those things is the tell-all that was released last night on TLC for Sister Wives. It's part 1. There'll be 2 more parts. This first part, you know, there wasn't too much that was revealed that I thought was surprising. There was some things that Cody did that I thought were disturbing, and we're going to talk about that. But if you're looking for like tea per se about Janelle and Cody, that was not revealed. So we'll have to wait until, I don't know, next week when they discuss their split. So in this season, in this first tell-all, Cody and the whole conversation is sort of around the departure of Christine and her announcement to the family about leaving. And they revisited the long conversation between Cody and Christine on the very first episode of the season where Christine and Cody split. And Cody had his feelings and Christine had her feelings. And of course, the sister wives also chimed in on their feelings. And as expected, Robin took Cody's side and seemed to think that if Christine just would have acted better, he would have been more attracted to her. Yikes. Just remember that, Robin, in the future. So if it wasn't shocking enough in the beginning of this video where I showed you that Mr. Cody compared his wives to panting dogs, he had other things to say that I thought were kind of disturbing. But let's dive into this first section of the tell-all. But before we do, can you do me a very big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed, and turn the notifications on so you know when I go live or when new content loads. And also make sure to leave a comment. The goal by 2024 is to reach 500,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. So the very beginning of this episode, they're all sort of like sitting down for the first time and they have to like go in. And what I didn't really enjoy about this tell-all is that they spent a long time revisiting clips of the season, watching them with Cody and the wives, which I thought was really redundant for viewers and actually took away time from their interviews. What I also didn't like was the interviews were so interwoven and cut off that it was really hard to understand like where context was going and where context was ending, and it also just felt very disjointed. I understand that there's 5 people to interview, but it's really challenging in this format when they're all separate that you get a congruent conversation. And it's easy to see things are clipped together and sort of edited in a way that might not have been completely authentic. I'm also going to just say that I wasn't impressed at all with the woman that did the interviewing, who's a seasoned journalist. She didn't really, Suki didn't really like push back at Cody. And some of the blatant misogyny and abuse was really brushed off. She tried to push a little bit, but it went nowhere. And she seemed to be feeding into these imaginary conspiracies that Cody was planting, which is disturbing. But I guess it's TLC, and what else can we expect? I actually thought I would get a little bit more from her, but she of all of the women that have done these tell-alls, I think has done the least when it comes to actually pushing them to respond. Christine was obviously very honest, and I thought very very honest about where she was at. I thought Janelle was very honest where she was at, and I even was surprised to see Mary was honest at her. She was where she was at, who was continuing to live in a world of lies and delusions. Kody had to start this episode by basically prefacing to Suki that, you know, this happened and this was years building up to this, and Christine already knew what she was gonna do when we had this conversation. And like, yes, we already know this, Kody.
I've spent the past year reflecting on what's been going on.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know if you're going to draw out anything to me that I haven't thought of yet.
Good.
But he had to like make it like he had to give his narrative so that he could try to explain away, I think, some of his feelings. And then when it came to some of his reactions, he was not really forthcoming, or even like, what bothered me is he made such offensive comments to her. He wasn't attracted to her, or that when they got married, he wasn't in love with her. That was like not even addressed, but the attracted now was addressed. No one discussed the fact that he said, when we got married, I wasn't attracted to you. When we got married, I wasn't in love with you, you know? But it set the stage for Kody to be incredibly misogynistic. It's very unhealthy, disturbing. So Kody believes that Christine is a game player. He didn't really believe that she was actually breaking up with him. He said that she was a manipulator. She played games. She threw temper tantrums. Sounds like a little projection here.
From the time we were married, manipulation, pouting, you know, temper tantrums.
And so because of that, he didn't think that this conversation was all that serious. He was in denial, he said. To throw off his bad behavior in that section, he then has to accuse Christine of somehow thwarting a quote-unquote reunion with Mary that we know never happened. And he first says that he got a birthday gift from Mary that was so sweet and it caused him to want to reconcile with her. And then it changed later in the episode to an anniversary gift.
I was trying to reconcile with Mary, and Mary gave me this really cool birthday present, and Christine lost her that day. She comes to a family party and leaves, yelling to one of the kids that she was in a loveless marriage.
So because Kody could not come up with a significant reason as to why his wife, Christine, was a game player and was somehow lying to him on the day that she was breaking up with him, he has to come up with this ridiculous lie that somehow Christine got in the middle of his reconciliation with Mary that everyone knows never happened, is totally a lie and fake. And he makes up this story about how she got this amazing birthday gift, which turns out to be an anniversary gift, which, you know what the gift was? Rice Krispies treats. Come on, Kody. In order to get out of a lie that he's crafted about her, she throws temper tantrums, she does this, she does that, and even if it's true, he deserves it. Then he has to craft this other lie about how he's going to reconcile with Mary, which didn't happen. So when it comes to the situation with the reconciliation, they don't immediately discuss that with Christine. Instead, they talk with her about the conversation and how all the different things that he was saying to her about the relationship being poison, about how, you know, she was poison or the relationship was poison. There was a lot of discussion about comparison, you know, how he's comparing her to Rob. So after Kody blames Christine, then they move over to Christine, who she kind of talks about how, you know, Kody wanted to compare her to Mary's relationship, which she didn't want to be compared to. She didn't just want to be compared to anything. She couldn't really say why he was doing what he was doing or acting the way that it was acting. Kind of just like, oh, he's, you know, we had been fighting about the same things for so long. It was pretty clear that she didn't really want to address a lot of the issues. She didn't want to be compared to Mary. She didn't want to be compared to anyone. Frankly, she didn't want to be compared. Mary actually agreed that Kody should not have compared Mary and Christine's relationship, and it was wrong for Kody to actually bring that into their discussion, because a husband should not bring up another wife in a discussion with one wife. So, I mean, for that moment, Mary had Christine's back.
Like, I thought that was really not cool. Why would you do that? Why would you compare? No husband should ever, ever, ever compare one. She said, I have played along for a really long time, and it's like hurting my soul.
Has it not hurt your soul?
Sure it has.
The really weird thing is that Mary finally admits that, like, Christine left because it wasn't good for her soul. And she even said that, like, Christine didn't say that, but that's the impression I got. Like it was hurting her soul to stay, and she couldn't play along anymore. And then Suki's like, well, doesn't this hurt your soul? And she's like, well, yeah, I guess. Like Mary was forced to make some really hard like decisions and answers and be honest for the first time. And I don't think she's been asked that before, to be honest. And, after that, Cody just goes on and on about how, everyone is getting it wrong. So he starts almost yelling at fans, basically saying that everyone out there that's watching doesn't have a reason to compare. There's no reason, like we don't get to compare Robin's relationship with Christine's, with Mary's, with Janelle's, because every relationship is different and they all are based on merits. Everyone else has it wrong. So he's like a teacher that is looking at, okay, Christine, you're a good communicator. You're a game player. Oh, that's a D. You're a temper tantrum thrower, and Robin, you're a great communicator. I'm very attracted to you. It's like, even though he uses the comparisons when he's talking to his other wives and says, you need to be more like Robin, he doesn't like it when people compare, but he gets to compare. It's like his world and then we're all living in it, right? Janelle understands why Christine's leaving, and there wasn't really like anything profound in that component. And then Robin is asked, if you're not, if you lost your intimacy, what would you do? Would you force Christine to stay in a situation where she's not happy and she's not getting intimacy from her spouse? And Robin's just like, well, I would take his butt to therapy. And we're like, yeah, Robin, Christine did that for years. Like, you can't force that. And even Suki's like, can you force someone to be attracted to someone? And she said no. But then she skirted around it and said that, for Cody, it's really just how people act. And when a wife starts acting well, then he will, be more attracted to them, and it'll be better. And, then he'll start being super in love. And it's like, come on, Robin, you don't force an attraction. And if your relationship is based on behavior, and if it's conditional that as long as I'm good, as long as I keep sweet, then he's attracted to me, that's demeaning and degrading.
His attraction is based on that person's behavior. She's being supportive and kind and stuff like that, and he just melts.
And you, again, cannot force him to be attracted to her. And if she has to comply in order to get that, that's degrading. But Robin plays his game. It's disturbing. Christine called Cody's lack of attraction to her embarrassing and humiliating. And she said that once she found out that he felt that way, she said it went both ways. Then she felt like, okay, since that I'm not attracted to you and this is over. And it's fascinating because she caught herself on that, but it does go both ways. And she didn't want to be with him anymore at that point. And she shouldn't have had to been there with him at that point. She said that she felt like when he made that admission to her, like, oh, so everything I've done for this family didn't matter because now I'm not attractive to you. And I did all of this for this family and I'm not good enough. And Suki said, well, do you think that's what caused your bad behavior? And Christine literally she lit up. She was like, that's demeaning. I am not a child. You don't talk to me like that. I was so mad when he said that it's bad behavior. And I was like clapping my hands. I was here for it. I was like, finally.
I don't know, but that statement just made me mad.
Really?
Yes, I'm not a child.
Yeah.
I'm your wife. You don't talk to me like that. My bad behavior, that's just insulting. Please, I'm an adult. That's just rude and belittling. No, how dare you? I was furious when he said bad behavior.
How did you?
So then finally, Christine talks about how he finally accepted it, that it was over, which made her feel relieved. Why fight for something that isn't worth fighting for and is over? With Cody, he still tried to blame COVID for the reason why the relationship blew up, but he did say that she was using intimacy as an excuse to end things. And he was yammering on and on and on about how, she finally just had the guts to end a relationship because things were not good, and why work on something that's not good and just end things. And, so he was like, she put her money where her mouth was and said, I'm done. And then he says, she called him a coward. And when she called him a coward, that made Cody mad because he's like, I'm not a quitter. I'm not scared of anything. And it was really telling because at that point, he makes this really weird admission that he's not scared of anything but poverty. And to me, it was like, oh, like losing the show. Like if you lose the show, you will lose your income. Nothing scares me more than going broke. Like we were living before the show, like all of their bankruptcies they had before the show, the food stamps they had before the show, everything like that. So he's not scared of losing her. He's scared of losing the show and and going back into poverty. Gross. And that's like, to me, like, oh, so this was just for show. And he says stuff like that throughout that you're like, Kody, you're admitting to stuff. Like, put your foot in your mouth. She's not your property.
So this is where she was ballsy enough to just go, hey, Kody, I'm out. And I was like, I don't want to be a quitter. And she's going, well, you're a coward. Well, no, 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 no. I'm not a coward. Nothing scares me but poverty.
So he's only scared of poverty, right? And Kody just seems to think that he's so much stronger and that it's Christine's fault the whole family blew up because she had the ability to destroy everything. Like it's her, she destroyed everything. Like everything in the family blew up because of Christine leaving, which isn't really true. But anyways, there was some discussion then about how the sister wives reacted, which we'll get to in another video. I don't want to talk about that in this video because the next thing that Kody said I thought was really disturbing. So they talked to Kody about, you know, after they break the news to the other wives, you know, how did he feel? Was he ready to leave? And, you know, what were his thoughts about, you know, letting everyone know? And he went into this weird diatribe about how the reason why everything fell apart was because he wasn't patriarchal enough. And had he just had more control over the family, things would have been different. And, you know, he says that they didn't abide by his rules in COVID. And had he been more patriarchal and forced them to obey him, things would have been different. And then he talks about how they joined the family, and it is so disturbing. He literally compares them to dogs in heat and how they were like panting and so excited to be with him. It's gross.
It's a canned request. Christine asked to be in the family. Janelle asked to be in the family. And basically I said, if you want to be in the family, then you have to understand, I need you to run your will to mine. Are you okay with that? Because I'm going to be the head of the family. I've got 2 wives. I have to take care of it. I have a very big picture. Will you understand that? Will you help me with it? And they're like, yeah, me, pick me. I mean, literally. And I'm like, okay, they're compliant. We can make this family situation work.
The way that he speaks about his wives, it's like their property and like they're dogs. Like he's treating them like dogs. Like he mocks them like they're dogs and pants like they're dogs. He said, I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of anything other than poverty. This is going to work because they're compliant and obedient, and everything in my family would have worked better if I would have been more forceful, and I just wasn't like that in the beginning. This is a big picture. Like the way that he describes the family coming together isn't this place of like love and unity and togetherness. It's like, all right, you're going to join the family. I'm in charge, and if you don't like it, leave. And if you can obey, you can come. And it's just really disturbing. And it's disturbing because Robin follows those rules. And ever since he's had a wife that follows those rules, Kody is emboldened by that. So what I really think I took out of this beginning part of this episode was that Kody's view of his wives is not about love. It's not about attraction. It's about whoever does what I want, keeps sweet, doesn't push back, and obeys me is in my favor. And that's what Robin does. Robin is the one that does what he wants. And the thing is that once she steps out of line, she's going to be the next one that is his target. Because the whole family, if it blows up, which it looks like it has, she's going to feel that. And if she's not perfect and doesn't act right, he'll do the same thing to her. And if they do believe that they need to go and have this testimony of plural marriage, they need more wives. Kody doesn't look at his wives as humans. They're nothing. They're like another stepping stone for him, an accessory, something that he needs in order to get his goal of becoming a god in heaven and his ego fed. It's disturbing. And this whole tell-all, it's just to me, it felt like a very misogynistic and abusive tell-all where he's not being pushed back at all for these beliefs, and he's not being told that what he's thinking or doing or treating people is wrong. They're just sort of accepting that this is what it is and how it should be. And I don't know how anyone could sit in a room with him and ask him these questions and be like, come on, Kody, are you serious? Like, you wanted to tell us that everyone had their own rights and these were independent women when you started the show, and then here we are today. You're reducing your wives to dogs, and you're scared of them leaving because of poverty. It's disgusting. I don't know how anyone could watch this next season without the rest of the wives. How do you even support this? Do people enjoy watching this? I want to know. It's so disheartening to me to see this is where we've come in 2022. This is what's on TLC. You've got a female journalist who I know is a very strong and intelligent and a feminist endorsing this and not pushing back on it. Never an opposing view on sister wives, right? So it's okay for women to be property, to be mocked with a dog, like a dog, and panted and said, I'm only scared of poverty, but it's not okay. But it's not okay to stand up for a woman and say that that's wrong. I mean, her face when he was doing this stuff, she wasn't amused, but at the same time, it's like, what is wrong with you, TLC? That's what I have for this section of the tell-all. We'll get into more details later and discuss what Robin's thoughts are, which are ridiculous, in the next video on Sister Wives. But before I do my next video on Sister Wives, we're going to dive into the Duggars. But tell me what your thoughts are about this in the comments below. Bye, guys.